Hey everybody, KMO here with another Out of My Head video. And what a glorious day. According to my phone, it's 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels like it's 60. It's just glorious. As you can see, it's a poured concrete wall behind me, but you'll just have to take my word for it. The view here is great. This is a peak oil video, and you know, why post it today? Well, I had James Howard Kunstler on the radio show. I will put that up as a podcast sometime today. I don't know if the video or the podcast will go up first, but eventually I will put the link to the podcast in the show notes, not the show notes, in the description for this video. We recorded it. I didn't record it. It was a live radio broadcast, but Radio Free America recorded it, and I'm currently playing that recording on my laptop and recording it from there. And given that I just participated in the conversation, I didn't need to hear it again, so I thought I'd come out and enjoy the sunshine. But you know, this series where I'm talking about my reservations about having been such an enthusiastic supporter and distributor and vector for the peak oil meme complex in the past decade and a half. You know, this is called peak oil bullshit, but that doesn't mean that peak oil is bullshit. It just means that there is a bunch of bullshit that attaches itself to the topic of peak oil. And whenever I put out one of these videos, I try to emphasize that the thing that I'm objecting to is the notion of, you know, the romantic collapse, the one that punishes the rich and the powerful at the same time that it punishes the poor and the powerless. And that, it is my contention, is just not going to happen. There could be a collapse. It'll be a partial collapse. There will be a partial recovery from it. And it will, the whole cycle of collapse and partial recovery will extract wealth from the masses and give it to the elites. Basically what I'm talking about is the concentration of wealth and how artificial intelligence in particular, but you know, just the surveillance state that isn't really the state, because it's Google and it's Facebook and it's Amazon and it's Twitter that's doing the surveillance, doing the collation of the data, and not the state. They report the findings to the state as they request it, but still it's not the CIA, you know, that has bugged your phone. The phone is a bug and you voluntarily carry it around, as do I. As do I, because the conveniences are just so tempting. But there is only so much oil in the ground. Who knows how much of it there really is? We will never bring it all out, because there does come a time when it costs you more energy to extract that oil than you're actually going to get from it. But I agree with James Howard Kunstler on a variety of things. But when it comes to peak oil, I agree that the lifestyle that we live now is not built to last. We are not going to be living this way forever, and we will have to make, in Jim's words, other arrangements. We won't be driving as much. We won't be as mobile. You know, most of us. Some of us will still have private jets. You know, when some of us are eating our dogs and cats and scrounging around, you know, looking for quarters in the sofa, even though we've looked there 10 times before, there'll still be people spending obscene amounts of money on utterly frivolous luxury goods. That's just how it goes. Collapse is not the great equalizer. It will not bring us all down to the same level. Don't pine for it. It will suck when it comes. But the slow collapse sucks as well. It's just, you know, like lobsters boiling in that pot of water. It doesn't come on fast enough to alert us. And again, going back to the romantic collapse, the one that happens all of a sudden, because it happens all of a sudden, it's noticeable, it has to be addressed in the moment. Whereas the slow, sucky collapse can be ignored and can be justified as just, you know, the natural processing of a meritocratic system, where the people who are smart, the people who got the right education, the people who really applied themselves either as servants to the wealthy or as entrepreneurs can still do really well. And you know what? They can do really well. But not all of us have that gumption. And back in the latter half of the 20th century, you didn't have to have all that gumption to have a respectable life. You just had to go and get a job. You didn't need a particularly good education. You didn't need to have any particular pull with anybody. You know, you didn't have to have helicopter and snow plow parents clearing all the obstacles out of your way to make sure that you can secure, you know, your piece of the American dream. It was much more attainable than it is now. and the situation is just going to continue to creep in the direction of the concentration of wealth and the immiseration of the working classes. It's going to continue on this way, unless we do something about it. But I think that the thing that we all leap to in our mind's eye is electoral politics, and that route has pretty much been locked down. In fact, you are encouraged by the system, by the powers that be, to focus your attention on electoral politics as this panacea. It's basically like the lottery. As I was walking back from the radio station today, I stopped in at the convenience store to buy myself an energy drink. Yes, I know. And there was a poor guy who I have seen buying heroin, buying lottery tickets. I wish that I had heard or encountered the words expected utility in some class somewhere in high school, but that's not the sort of way. We don't train our kids to think about that. I mean, expected utility is basically another way of saying energy returned on energy invested, except here the energy is money. That lottery's got to turn a profit. So on average, you're going to get back less from it than you put into it. That's how it is designed. Unrelated, at least superficially unrelated, cigarettes. I did a radio show with a friend of mine who's not poor, and he smokes. But most of the people I see smoking really can't afford to, and I am sickened by the notion of sin taxes on cigarettes. One, how can the government determine what is and is not a sin? That is a job for religious leaders, not for government leaders. And the government is bound by our Constitution not to respect any established religion or establishment of religion, which is a funky phrase. I'm not irritated. I think this is just my YouTube tone of voice that I put on because I'm in a pretty good mood. My fast has been over for a couple days now, and I've put on 8 pounds in 2 days, which is not ideal, but 5 of it is just when your stomach is empty, you don't hold as much water. You need some water to digest food. If you're not digesting food, your body doesn't hold on to the water. So as soon as you start eating again, it starts retaining water. Because I didn't eat 4 pounds worth of food in the first day, but I put on 4 pounds in the first day. I did indulge last night. I went to this fundraiser where they had, unfortunately, like 5 kinds of brownies, and I had some of each in addition to the dinner. So I can't complain, and I'm not complaining, I'm just reporting. I have put on 8 pounds since Friday. Maybe you can see it. Anyway, collapse. Collapse is a tricky word because you hear it and you think of what? A Jenga tower falling, scattering. It is no longer recognizable as a tower. Maybe you see a person walking down the street, faint from lack of food, and they fall over on their face. It is a catastrophic event. But a collapse of a complex system basically just is the collapse itself is the act of the system shedding the excess complexity, making itself simpler, making itself more robust, more durable. And as YouTuber Isaac Arthur says, after a civilization collapses, what's left is stronger and more durable. So yeah, we're going to be in for a collapse because we have a lot of excess complexity built into our industrial system, and in the future, as we do eventually use up those oil reserves, we will be scrounging for energy. And as we do, we will suddenly realize that a lot of the things that we thought of as being necessities are really luxuries. On the radio show today, and again, follow the link in the show notes because I can't encapsulate the whole conversation, but it's all worth hearing. The internet that we have today with full motion video, 4K video, really, that is not built for the future. There are futures, and I don't claim to know how the future is going to unfold, but there are futures where we still have an internet, even though we don't have nearly as much excess energy to throw at it, but it's primarily text-based. The images are low res, but that can convey the core of what's important to you and what you want to share with the world and what you want to learn about the outside world, that part of the world that you used to be able to drive to and fly to, which is basically off limits to you now unless you are among the ultra wealthy. Text is very powerful. And, you know, this is basically a message that Dmitry Orlov has been preaching for years, that really the core of what's useful about the internet is still useful if you only have access to it a couple hours a day and it's on a computer at the library and you have to walk down to the library to use it. You know, when Dmitry first said that to me on my show many years ago, I got messages from people who were saying they would kill themselves if they didn't have access to multimedia, real-time, fully immersive video and audio. You know, that if they had to read, they'd rather die. Well, I imagine when the time comes, you'll change your mind about that. But if not, you know, bon voyage. Good luck. Anyway, peak oil bullshit. I'm not saying peak oil is bullshit. I'm saying there's a lot of bullshit that people who are into peak oil are also into. And I'm cleaving, you know, I'm cleaving the one from the other. That's my attempt anyway. Okay, thanks for watching. I will talk to you again tomorrow. I'll be spending today working on a comic strip. Please check in tomorrow morning at geb.io to see what I came up with. It's not a mystery to me. I mean, I already know what the comic's going to be. I just have to bring it into reality. All right, I'm out of here. Stay well.